to see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. Blake's poem speaks directly to Swedenborg's concept of correspondences, and it gives us a hint as to how we might understand its application. It goes further than poetic language, though. It draws connections between our natural environment and our inner, that is, our mental and spiritual landscape. And we can see it at work here in chapter 14, which is describing the Son of Heaven, and that is the divine. The reason the Lord in heaven is seen as a son is that he is divine love, from which all spiritual things come into existence, as do all natural things by means of the Son of the world. That love is what shines as a sun. And the correlation between the divine and the natural Son is a strong one, and we can in some measure understand the spiritual Son by looking at the natural one. One is the source of all that exists in the natural world, even down to enabling our eyes to see and providing the energy that enables our bodies to live and move. And in the same way, the other is the source of all that is good and true in our mental world, empowering and enlightening the mind, and which in turn prompts the material body. As Paul said, "For in him we live and move and have our being." Elsewhere, Swedenborg suggests that this connection led the ancient peoples to dedicate temples to the sun. And even though in time they forgot the divine source behind it all and began worshipping the sun itself, it nevertheless points to a true principle, one which connects spirit to nature. Since the Lord appears in heaven like a sun, by reason of the divine love which is in him and from him, so all in the heavens turn constantly towards him. But those in hell turn towards the dense blackness and darkness which are in the opposite direction. What we have to grasp here is that Swedenborg is talking not only about the next life, but also about this one. Whether we talk about idolatrous religious ritual or the infatuation with natural sciences, it amounts to the same thing. To be misled into believing that natural light is all we need to think rationally is in itself intellectual darkness. So you can see that the title of Helen Keller's book, Light in My Darkness, is a double-edged sword. As Swedenborg himself writes, "Thought from the eye closes the understanding, but thought from the understanding opens the eye." The angels' continual facing the Lord comes about by their being led by principles of goodness and truth in all things. It's not as though they're thinking about God specifically in every moment of every day, but those principles are constantly before their eyes and illuminating their thoughts. But in the case of those who turn from the sun and face the blackness, it is their own shadow that is before their eyes, informing their ideas and their conclusions. I think that's what Swedenborg is saying here. Now, going back for a moment to paragraph 117 reminds me that the magazines Universe Today and indeed the Encyclopaedia Britannica attribute what is known as the nebular hypothesis to Swedenborg. It's an idea he posed in 1734, which was then taken up and developed by Immanuel Kant in his Universal Natural History and Theory of the Heavens in 1755. So what does it mean to look to the divine? To me, it encompasses doing what is good and true and fair in all of my actions, but it also means developing and fulfilling my own potentials, abilities and talents as I've been blessed with them. But what do you think? I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments below. As always, you're invited to read along with us or read ahead if you prefer. There may be questions you'd like to pose, and I'd welcome those to be added to the comments below. Enjoy the journey.